Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hardcore Heroes Arcadia. So, uh, Malachi goes to sleep that night,
Mm-hmm.
wakes up in the morning, and as you're, prepping your spells and the sun is coming up, there comes a knock
Mm,
at your tower
oh,
door before Georg arrives, while Georg's
Uh-huh.
memorizing his spells and stuff.
All right. I will answer the door.
It's the guard one of the guards who's been posted on the Cleric's door.
This guy again. All right. I haven't learned my spells yet.
No, you're probably like in the process of studying spells for the morning when the knock comes.
Well, what does he want?
My lord, something's weird. I was bringing our guest, breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
I think he's gone a little insane.
Hmm.
He's
Well, he's
he used up all the paper and ink in the room, drawing, and he just hands you a stack of papers. Each one has kind of a scribbled large spider drawn on it, as if someone's trying to just make a spider as quickly as possible, then on to the next page, and it's another scribbled spider, each one slightly different than the last. Not like it's trying to replicate any specific spider, that's from different angles, different positions. Sometimes there's things, sometimes it's in a web, sometimes it's on a wall, sometimes it's on a bed, but we're talking like large spiders. If it's next to a wagon, it's like the size of the wagon, sort of thing.
yeah.
And
Do I
then,
know
huh?
And then what?
Well, looks like he ran out of ink and paper, and first ran out of paper and started drawing with the ink on the walls. Then he ran out of ink, and looks like he's been chewing on his thumb to make it bleed so we can draw on stuff. I took away all the bedding before he ruined it, but
We tied him up.
he got pretty vicious when I came near him with a rope. I figured better to take away anything that could be damaged and just... I think it's probably time to just put him down.
I'll be there shortly. Just keep an eye on him. All right. I finished learning my spells.
Okay. I don't know who's got more spells to learn.
How many days has it been since the ballistic construction started?
2 or 3. I think 3.
This isn't Dragon Slaying Day.
No. But I will be I'll check in on that construction when I get there in a sec. I'll probably teleport in. I would guess like noon-ish, maybe 11. I don't know. However long it took me to memorize spells, and then hike out a couple hours, and then teleport from there.
Okay. So Malachi's got more time before...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can finish memorizing your spells, Malachi. And there is more stuff. There is a message waiting from you. Actually, 2 messages waiting for you.
Marvelous.
From... Apparently there is both a Ms. Miller and a Lord Covington who wish to speak with you. Apparently about the same issue.
All right. What? Okay, that's weird. All right, I'm going to the Cleric first, though.
All right.
Wait, no, but on my way, I can sort my knowledge of phase spiders.
It's very limited. You've heard of them only by rough description. You've never seen them, and you have no idea where they're native in the Prime Materia Plane, if at all. You suspect they're not native here, but you don't know where they could be found.
All right. I head to this guy's room.
The Cleric's room?
Cleric. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. You find the guard outside. He opens the door for you, lets you in. The inside of the room is a mess. The man has stripped himself of his clothes. He's on his hands and feet, kind of crawling around the room, skittering about, almost like an impression of a spider.
You trying to tell me something?
He looks up at you with a wild, untamed look in his eyes. There's no recognition of you there whatsoever.
Look around the room. Did you give up on the displacer beast?
He starts crawling towards you on the ground, slowly, one limb at a time.
Kick him in the face.
All right. He rolls over with the blow,
Okay.
and then scrambles under the bed. Yeah, he doesn't try to dodge it or anything.
All right. I drag him out of the room.
Okay. Out into the hallway?
Yeah. Take him back to the dungeon.
Okay. He starts hissing at you with his tongueless mouth as you drag him into the dungeon.
Get the room cleaned up. Bind his hands. And walk out.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to find Lady Miller and her friend.
Okay. They can be gathered for you. They are as you come into the room where they both are. They're arguing with each other and yelling, and he's definitely some sort of noble. You can tell by the way he speaks, his accent and word choice. And she is clearly disregarding his noble status and cursing him, calling him all sorts of unpleasant things.
Lady Miller, calm down. Let's discuss this as reasonable adults. And your
This
friend
man's
here
trying to steal my job.
and you, sir, are...
Pardon the lady, my lord. She's a wild one. I am Lord Erwin Covington.
Lord Covington. Nice to make your acquaintance.
My family has long resided in Thornwood. We have served the counts and countesses there for generations. In more recent times, our dabbling with dog breeding, hound training has become a little bit more than a hobby of ours. I wouldn't quite call it a profession. We're certainly not plebeian like that, he says with a look of disgust at Miss Miller, who gives him a spit towards his feet. This charming young lady came by to buy a few of my hounds, and upon explanation of her intent with them, I thought I would come and deal directly with you instead of using intermediaries.
Well, that is interesting.
Yes.
Do you wish to set up here?
I think the activities of the Thornwood as of late are stifling our developments. I would be happy to move my estate and property and facilities to Shirebrook if you have an appropriate village for a man of my stature.
Indeed, I do. There is a number of lords that have gone missing. So, I'm right. That's right, Neal. There is villages on...
Yes, but they don't have people in them anymore.
Is there any villages to the north that their knights have disappeared because they were in the Storybook?
No, all the knights and nobles that were in the storybook were from the southern lands, leaving after their people have gone. So all these settled villages still have rulers.
Well, do you understand of the refugee crisis we have here in Shirebrook?
We have been dealing with it in Thornwood as well. I feel that unless food is so scarce that it cannot be bought, it will not affect my operations. I have little need for people or interaction.
Sure, but do you understand the cause of the refugee crisis?
Failed crops, rumors of monsters,
Well,
disappeared villages, that sort of thing.
I can see you're not a superstitious man.
Hardly.
There is some truth to the worries. I'm sure you'd be perfectly safe, but it would be wrong of me not to be open about this.
Miss Miller starts complaining. Come on, we had a deal.
I'll get to that, Mrs. Miller. Trust me, you won't be out of pocket. Look, there's I have plans to rebuild some of the villages north of the city. you can take one of these southern villages if you wish, but there are no more people living in them. I could offer you an estate in town temporarily, with a view to take over one of these villages once they're reconstructed and re-inhabited. Or if problems south of the city are dealt with and people can return to their homes, then a village will be provided for you.
One would expect breeding dogs to be a simple and frugal endeavor. However, I can assure you it is not. If there, I would be happy with either an estate in town or a unmanned village, but I would need certain a stipend, a monthly stipend, to make sure I can provide the quality services.
Indeed. Well, how much would you need?
300 gold a month.
How many dogs would you provide for this amount?
How many do you need?
Well, that sounds like the answer I'm looking for. If you could provide enough dogs to man all the patrols around the city, provide hunting dogs and tracking dogs as needed, I think...
I have a few hounds on hand that would fit the job already, with some pups born that are being trained. If you would like a great quantity, it will take some time for them to grow up and be trained, of course. These are investments for the future.
Of course. Look, times are quite tight right now in Shirebrook, and 300 gold a month is rather a lot. I'll provide an estate for you with servants, and could offer you 200 gold for now. But you'll have your pick of the new villages once things settled out.
That sounds quite fair indeed.
Okay. Well, here, take the first month up front. I'll give him 200 gold.
Okay.
And do I know, is there an estate in town that someone's missing from? Twin Towers Estate, maybe.
Yep, that's open.
There you go. Yeah, I'll show him to Twin Towers Estate then.
Excellent. What about Miss Miller?
Miss Miller, before this guy leaves, I'm sure you can find work for Mrs. Miller.
I'm worried her brash attitude would interfere with the training needed.
Well,
I hope you understand. This is a delicate procedure if it wants to be done right. Simply beating dogs over the snout with a stick will not do.
Miss Miller, you yourself admitted not to be an expert in this matter. However, I can see that you find a finder's fee for introducing me to this man here. I trust this will be appropriate, and I'll give her 75 gold.
She takes it.
Hopefully with a good attitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a mix of appreciation and salt. You know, she's happy to get paid, but she feels like her thunder's been stolen and her potential long-term income's been... But I mean, 75 gold for a person who makes 36 gold a year is pretty good. So,
Yes.
she takes it, shuts up, and heads out.
Perfect. All right. That's that dealt with. I will go. I've learnt my spells, so I'm gonna wait for. Well, Gao doesn't turn up yet. So
He will shortly.
Well, I'm gonna go.
Sounds like these people came to Malachi first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've actually been waiting for days for him to get back.
I think your perception of time is not like we left the day before this.
You guys left the day that they were supposed to show up. You left on the 13th is when you got to Porvin's. The 14th is when you got to the Chimera Lair. The 15th is when you got to Malchus's.
No, we didn't. No, the Chimera Lair and Malchus's thing were the same day. Sorry.
Oh, right. No, you went to the Chimera Lair on the 14th, and Georg talked to Malchus on the 15th. Malachi on the 14th. Malachi on the 15th. Malchus, Malachi, Shadow Dragon. You know, I'm just using whatever was easiest to understand, not always what's the truth.
Sure.
Been talking about Shadow Dragon for a year.
But I mean, until Gaug's not here, I don't know he's turning up. So I'll go and speak to the. I'm going to go and check on the ballista and speak to the Kel. I don't remember her name. The knight who I said was in charge of giving the gold to the dragon.
Lori Goldfeather.
There you go, Kel Lori Goldfeather. Yeah, so I go and do that. I mean, I assume Georg is going to turn up at some point.
Yeah.
But
Ballistae are a ways out of town, right? They're probably like a mile from the keep.
Okay, so maybe I'll go and speak to.
So I plan on checking on them as soon as I get there. I don't know what the timing of his morning is, Neal, but.
All right, so you're teleporting to take a look at the ballistas?
Yeah, but I think for safety, I'll need to teleport into the tower.
Okay.
Right.
Neal, can I get the name of Sorry, the kennel master again. Lord
Irwin Covington.
Covington. Cool. Stole a lord off Lord Song. Nice.
So this was a Thornwood noble?
Yeah.
Dang. Only okay. Quick retcon. I totally appointed Vanessa Chancellor with the Mithril Longsword that I didn't know I had until after.
Oh yeah.
Went through that event.
Perfect.
No need to use a chunk of steel instead of an actual blade.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So I go and speak to Cal Laurie Goldfeather, make sure everything's gone all right with the dragon.
Yep. She's been doing the 50 gold a day.
150.
150 gold a day. Yeah. She said she hasn't seen the creature yet, but she tosses the gold towards it, and checks back a little bit later, and it's never there.
She rings the bell on the way out.
Rings the bell on the way out.
Perfect. All right. Cool. She's been going at noon.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good. Continue.
Okay. Then you go speak to
the ballista. I'm going to check on the construction.
Okay. So I think you go to check on the ballista around the same time. Georg teleports to your tower, exits, and then he goes to check on the ballista. So Georg will be there a few minutes after while you're checking.
Right. All right. So I will have a chest of gold with me that I'll teleport in with, and I'll drop that off with the Chancellor, I guess, before I go out to. I think we'll say 1,000 gold to pay up for the ballista, or whatever costs are being accumulated in the construction.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'll pay the rest when they're completed or something like that.
Sure.
Good.
So yeah, and then I'll leave the chest in the. Actually, let me roll. So okay, I've done 2 teleports. Let me just roll to make sure I don't go high or low. So that's back to Misty Rapids, which is fine. 95 is close, but I have certainly studied Aldrich's astronomy carefully.
Yes.
Yeah, so 95 is still safe.
Guys, I think I just heard a scream, so I'm just going to be right back a second.
Please do.
Should we keep playing, or?
Yeah, we're going to keep playing. We'll assume it's nothing.
All right, so I bring said Wizard Lock chests down to Chancellor Landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Pass it on to him to cover the cost of the ballistas.
He takes the money graciously.
The chest is Wizard Lock. I don't tell him the chest, but so I assume I'll get the chest. I don't know how to.
Wait, you deliver him a Wizard Lock chest?
Yeah, and then I'll open it and show him what's inside of it.
Okay, cool.
Do a handoff, but all my chests are Wizard Locked. Do you think?
Right, so he'll open the sees the open chest, goes to shut it, and then carry it away. And or do you?
Where do I find him? I mean, I'll say
Okay, hold on. I'm just trying to get. Are you trying to give him a chest that he cannot
open?
I'm
trying to give him the gold and then take the chest back. Okay,
cool. Cool. That can be sorted out.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone alive in your house?
Yeah, but I thought it was probably nothing, and then I remembered this story I read on Reddit about a guy who was playing his computer upstairs, and his wife was like raped and murdered downstairs, and he didn't hear it. So I thought probably best check.
Probably best to check. Yeah.
That sounds like a horrifying story to read about.
Yeah, it wasn't nice, but everything's fine, so it's okay.
Good.
Okay. All right, and then I will trek out to the construction site. Probably arriving just after Malachi, or I think I will. How far is it out of town?
It's a mile.
It's just on the outskirts of town. Right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, so
So
I
we'll-
probably
yeah.
I'm just talking to the I'm maybe walking in and starting to talk to people as you arrive. But my goal isn't so much to check on the construction because that's Georg's job. I want to speak to the general of the army, like the guy who's in charge of commanding the forces.
Okay. You find the person who is. There's not really a set leader, right? Because it's a whole bunch of different towns have brought their forces, and so the leader is technically the chancellor.
Okay.
There's someone who's been appointed to oversee the ballista creating, but there's not no one has been appointed head of an army since there's not been given a task yet. It's just been call the troops, get ready to use them somehow, and everyone's
Yeah, well,
kind of waiting.
people have been told about the dragon,
Yes.
right? So has anyone got like there's
You
like
should
a-
check in. I think the logic you would check in with the knight who is paying the dragon, right?
Maybe.
Have you
but
done that yet?
Yeah, I checked in with
Is she
her.
still alive? Okay, so she
She's
has.
still alive. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to find like a map of the area. Like, is there like a war tent? You know, like where people have got maps and that kind
Sure.
of deal, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I go, and then that's where Georg can find me.
That's in the keep then, right?
I think there would be a war room in the keep, but you would also the presiding officers bring with them their own supplies as well. So you would have each camp would have more or less its own little headquarters post set up. Although each camp is small.
I go there, I start unrolling all my maps of the mine that I've collected, maybe just as Georg walks in.
Sure.
Georg, you're back. This is my, this is my
I'm more
friend.
I'm more surprised to see you alive.
Ah, well.
Um,
My eyes narrow. We'll talk
where-
about that later.
Okay. Everything's going smoothly.
Well, I'm hoping that you might check up on the construction. You seem to be the expert in that regard.
Yes. Have I at this point, Neal, or did I just ride into?
You just wrote in. You can check up on the construction though.
But first, I would like to talk strategy for when the big day comes. I've got a few concerns about luring this dragon out. I'm certain that my plan of...
Have the tributes been going well?
yes, Kel
No.
Goldfeather remains alive. The gold has been taken by the dragon.
The dragon comes out once a day, every day. Correct?
Yes, but only so far as to collect its gold.
Well, the gold you place how far out? It's
Well,
surely
I mean, yeah, I see your point, but there's...
surely this Cal does not walk right up to the cave entrance, right? She sets it in the field below.
Yeah, about 20 or 30 feet away, I think, but that's probably not long enough to get the dragon all the way out. But there's other concerns. If we have an army of 176 men and 7 ballistae surrounding the cave, then I think the dragon may notice. So we have to take steps to make sure that things are concealed. What's the lay of the land like, Neal? Is there like a hill?
Yep.
That
Yes.
maybe the people could stand behind.
We are going to need a map at some point. So
I'm drawing the map
we draw
right
a map?
now. I'm in the middle of drawing it.
Perfect.
Cool.
I already drew one out at work on how we're gonna set the army up. So, we can do a new one. So my plan, I lay out. We're looking at the map on the table. I'm thinking maybe we put half the ballistae, so on the wall of the mine, like right on the edge, so that when the dragon comes out, they're getting like flank back attacks, and then because he won't immediately see them there, and then we have the archers behind the nearest hill, ready to run up to the hill and start firing when we give the word.
I didn't follow that, but we'll make our plans with the map in front of us.
Yes. Okay.
How many days are we out on the ballista? On the ballistae?
Today is the 16th. The ballista will be done on the 20th.
Okay.
Okay. And have there been any sightings of the dragon outside, like when they came?
Yes. Every night,
flies
people
about?
hear. Just about every night, people hear or at least tell stories of seeing the dragon. It's hard to confirm which stories are true and which stories are bullshit. Of course,
But it hasn't
everyone
killed
wants
anyone.
to talk. No people have been killed. Animals have been taken from farms and fields.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, at least for now, it seems placated, which is nice.
Animals have been taken and people aren't complaining?
Yeah, of course people are complaining. Yeah.
All right. Has it taken any notice of the camp of the?
How would you know if it had noticed?
I mean, if it's been doing frequent flyovers of the camp, it's not really not picked up any. I assume there's animals around the camp, like horses and stuff around. It hasn't picked off any of them.
Nope, hasn't attacked any people or horses, but it's there are people talking about sheep going missing, goats, some cows, and of course there's always an animal that disappears every now and then, usually by wolves or it gets lost and falls off a cliff or something. This time everyone's, the dragon came and ate a goat last night. Oh, there was totally scorch marks on the ground where its feet were. Definitely a dragon. And, other people talk. Everyone's spreading their rumors. It's difficult to distinguish fact from fiction without a good eyewitness that you can really trust.
Okay. I think one of the things Georg will do this first afternoon in camp is get everything set up to be a little more stealthy about our construction. So I imagine the ballistas are just about to start taking shape, like to where it looks like generic construction to it looks like they're constructing siege engines.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll try and set it up so that a lot of the conspicuous stuff goes on inside tents, maybe. So we'll be like making the missiles in the tents, whatever you call a ballista bolt.
Okay.
And yeah, so do the best we can to conceal it.
Sure.
Move up, yeah.
Okay. Anything else you
In case
guys
the
are
dragon
doing?
doesn't fly over.
Yeah, so I want to have someone track the wind, right? Because dragons have a pretty good sense of smell. Is that right?
Seems reasonable.
So we don't want to be doing it on a day where the wind's going to be blowing the scent of the army to the dragon's entrance. So we might have to delay.
You think it's going to be that perceptive?
Better safe than sorry, because if it cottons onto what we're doing, we're never going to get it to come out.
Then we set up siege, and it'll have to come out at some point.
I suppose, yeah, that's true actually.
And if it doesn't, we can just lay more traps outside of its lair. It can't live in there forever. It has to eat, and there is no back entrance to the mines that it can fit out.
You are right. But if it comes out at
No,
night,
I say as soon as the ballistae are completed, we move them into position. It flies at night, Neal?
People are saying they're seeing a dragon at night. Neither of you have seen it.
Well, we've been away, so
Right.
Yeah.
maybe we should make some continual light stones, Georg. We could pass them out amongst the men, and when the dragon shows itself, we could throw them, light things up. Say, General, whatever your name is, what are the chances of hooking on one of these ballistae to sort of anchor the dragon? Maybe we could tie it to some sort of sturdy wall, attach the bolt to a rope, fire the thing into the dragon, and
Okay.
now it can't fly around too much.
Yeah, I was thinking similarly, but I don't know. We'll need like hundreds and hundreds of feet of hemp rope. Is such a thing obtainable?
Such a thing is possible, but difficult. It works well with a fish, right? That's more or less the technique you're describing is what you'd use for fishing. A spear or a hook or something attaches to it, and then a line from that to where you are.
Yeah.
I question, though, the mass of a dragon. Could a dragon simply rip hemp rope? Could a dragon simply lift off whatever ballista or thing is used to hold it in place? I don't know if a dragon would be stoppable in this regard.
It would certainly slow it down.
I would hope so, but would it really? They have sharp claws. I doubt one would be attached for long. Even if a rope was strong enough to hold a dragon, it is a smart enough creature to simply cut a rope, I would expect.
Who are you, expert dragon slayer? Who are we talking to?
I am
now?
a hunter. That's who I am. I hunt in my spare time, and I have many. I know many things about the
Seriously, though,
real-world application of these things. And don't just sit in a library all day assuming all creatures are the same.
Who is this? Wait, hold on a second, Neil. Who is this guy that we're talking to? Right? Is this one of the nobles, or is this?
This
like
is
the
one of the nobles.
Carpenter.
This is Kel Kiara Longwind.
So this is some. Are we?
She is the person leading the troops from one of the small villages. You know, she's brought 8 men with her, plus a squire, plus a deputy. So.
No, Georg. Don't insult the knight. I'm sure
Insult the knight. This knight has just insulted me.
Well,
are you so easily insulted? Perhaps you should spend more time in a library where your precious ears won't be filled with offensive rhetoric.
Enough!
You should.
You two. Please, there's larger matters at hand than stroking each other's egos. Please. Honestly, children. You're probably right. Maybe that's it's not a great tactic, but we're just throwing ideas out there. So we need to take this thing down quick, though, because it's going to burn the flesh off many men if we let it get a chance.
Is that not why you are here?
Well, yeah, to help.
The pair of you? Aren't you supposed to be wizards extraordinaire?
Well, my learned friend here will be stopping the dragon's retreat by blocking off the entrance to the mine. I will be bombarding it. But certainly these machines of war and these men of yours will need to do their part.
Of course.
Right. So, let's look at our map here and discuss possible deployment.
Well, someone has made a map of the mine, which you have before you.
Yes. Thank you. Alright, so all of this area, is there any of this elevated?
Yeah, so you see these are contour lines over here, these things around the outside. Those are showing you the elevation.
That's the mine itself, though, right?
Right, this thing right here, this big blob, is the mine itself.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, so what I'm imagining is, like, maybe there's, like, a bit of a hill here, and the line of archers could line up behind the hill.
There's not a hill here. The hill is on the outside, right?
What can we make this to scale, or roughly to scale?
This is roughly to scale.
Could people
no,
walk
it's not.
up this hill?
Because we need to position ballistas like 150 feet, maybe even more. Like we need a map that's like.
You need like a really big map.
Yeah,
you can just.
We're talking the range of The mine is not. I think we need another map, maybe, or maybe we need two maps.
You need a map with from a further out angle. You need a larger map.
Yeah, we need to be talking on the order of thousands of feet, not tens of feet.
But if this were to scale, well, let me just map out my idea.
Pretty much to scale, yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, let's say, Neal, that if this to the entrance of the cave is about 150 feet. Is that
from
reasonable?
B to the entrance of the cave?
Yeah.
No, that's about 40 feet.
Is this water?
Yeah, that's water. That's the river.
Is this hill, like, climbable?
Yeah, it's what, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet high, 60, the very back elevation. Well, each line is 10 feet of elevation. So you can count it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60 feet at the very top before it goes off the map.
So what do you think, Eric? We just surround it?
What do I think? Well, yeah. I thought the battle plans were to be run by our expert beast hunter here.
I swear to God, you two.
Who all is in this tent right now?
The three of you.
Just the three of us?
Just the three of you. Yeah, because as I said, there's no like headquarters. There's no one person in charge.
This is just the random knight or noble we happen to bump into each like.
Right. She's the one overseeing the construction of the ballistas.
She is. I thought there was some dwarf that came with me to give the orders.
Yeah. All right. So when I say overseeing, like she is the top tier manager. She's the executive. The dwarves are your middle management who actually oversee the exact construction. Right. It's a pyramid.
They called their banners. So there's a bunch of knights with their own men. Right.
Right.
So then this just happens. It seems like this is the most senior veteran of the knights that showed up, or something.
This is the one that was tasked with being the noble in charge of overseeing the construction of the ballista. If that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense, right? He's just the most battle hardened.
This is the first time. This is the first time we've met her.
Yes. Yes.
Which seems strange. I waited until there's a lead carpenter out there somewhere, right?
Right.
And but the dwarves are not around. The dwarves who
the dwarves are here too. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we talk deployments, Georg? Yeah, if you wish to go and speak with the dwarves, you're welcome.
This is the first time the dwarves have come up. I think Georg is offended. And you say, yes, I will go speak with those that really get things done around here. And I'll cast a stony glare to this knight and say, you would do best to hold your tongue, sir. Lest...
As Georg walks out, I'll turn back to the knight and say, I don't look down on you for what you said, but he's probably right. He's not a man to cross. Just be wary.
But yeah, okay. I refuse to acknowledge this knight's authority, at least for now. So I'm going to go amongst the carpenters that I had met last time.
All right, I'll
see to the construction.
I'll discuss ideas with this knight, and then I'm eventually going to make the final plans with the Chancellor, because it needs to be Georg needs to be involved in the discussion. So.
Okay.
Yeah, in Georg's mind, these are my ballistas, and I'm deploying them where I damn well please. We'll see what when it actually comes to deployment what this knight says. But I don't know that it will be her men. Like we only need like 8. We'll probably have 2 men per ballista. I guess we'll get to these plans between Malachi and Georg later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost at what you're both trying to achieve right now. I don't understand what you.
I'm trying to work out how we're going to deploy the forces.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really know what Right's trying to do, other than just get offended.
Hey, come on! I'm playing an 18-year-old boy genius.
Of course.
Because so in Georg's, I already have an idea of where we're putting the ballista. I can't we don't have a map to actually make plans. I don't think Georg will be making plans with that knight, at least for now.
Yeah, sure. No, I see that, and I will now rebring this up with the Chancellor and you. But I'm not talking
at some point later that week. I think, yeah. So
okay. So what do you guys want to do? Who wants to talk to who? Who wants to? What's going on? I'm lost.
Should we take it one day at a time or something? I don't know.
Yes, let's take it one day at a time. Right now, what is the objective?
Yeah, so Georg storms out of the tent. He goes to oversee construction. I don't know if there's anything we need to talk about there.
No, you don't need to oversee any construction.
Okay.
Working with the carpenters and the dwarves.
Yeah,
don't need anything to do with this person, because I'm not going to make the final plans with her, because she's not going to work with Georg. So I'll get ideas from her. So I'll just talk to her for a few hours and then leave.
Okay.
But nothing, no decision is made.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, then maybe we have dinner with the Chancellor tonight?
Sure. Why don't we go to that night then, the night of the 16th? You guys can all be gathered round for dinner with the Chancellor to discuss the upcoming plans and the dragon.
Since you seem to be such good friends with him, Georg, I thought I'd arrange dinner for us and the Chancellor tonight.
Very well, then.
I thought we could go to the war room after we've eaten. Discuss plans.
Yes, this would be very prudent. Can we... Yeah.
So you guys have dinner. There's a bunch of all the nobles and knights that have been called are here to eat and feast. Some of the men are scattered around the town as well, or the hall at the far end of it. Others are still deployed on watch to keep the peace around the area. There's a lot of talk of supply problems. You've got all these soldiers brought here, and the town's already short on food, and it's becoming problematic. Food's being brought from elsewhere, but the cost is high because now you got to hire people to bring in food and animals. It's logistical nightmare stuff that you guys don't have to deal with. Is there anything you guys want to say specifically during dinner with all of the other nobles present?
No. Well,
Okay.
I want to talk to the Chancellor, later in private, but just make small talk.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I'll check up. I don't know if you remember, Neal, but I made a plea to the lords of Shirebrook to pad the coffers of the city. They seemed amenable to that. I was wondering if any of them had coughed up some gold. I promised to match the highest donation.
Right.
So I'm hoping that everyone might give a few hundred gold or something.
Let me add these things together. So a total of 600 gold has been donated to the coffers.
And what was the highest single donation?
70 gold.
All right, so I will match that.
Okay.
So 670.
You're tracking the money in the coffers, right?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I will though if you want.
Please do. It's 7,878.
Gold?
7,878 gold.
Yes. After all the things that you've done, after the money you brought in from Gary and all those other folks.
And while we're here, the monthly income and expenditure is...
Income is 10,642. Expenses is 9,100.
Hold the phone. I am the actual Baron here, and I have not been given such information about my...
What was the expenses?
How come...
Expenses are 9,100. We haven't been focusing on what Baron
Sure.
Garrick has been doing, and he's also been completely, abandoning his town to come kill dragons and fly around.
I have the bureaucracy proficiency, so
Yes. If we could get 2 weekly shows, and you could each be separate barons, but if we're gonna put them together, we don't,
Plus, Shirebrook's the better town, right?
For what? For shipping?
In terms of like income and expense, instead of income and population, isn't it bigger?
I think they're comparable. I think they're both around 6,000 people.
Oh, okay. I just got the impression. Never mind. All right,
Shirebrook is the wealthier town.
But it's not like Malachi has been taking the time to check in on this accounting. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways.
he has. He's
Yeah.
been
All right.
All right. So we have dinner and then retire to the war room with the Chancellor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone retire. The 3 of you plus a few of the knights retire to the war room a little bit later.
All right. So, Georg, what are your plans for the deployment?
Well, we want to keep our assets as dispersed as possible.
Indeed.
To prevent anything, prevent dragon breath being able to take down more than is necessary. I'm hoping we can get through this with minimal casualties.
Yes, I
We
agree.
lure the creature out, take it down within a few minutes. Hopefully no one has to get hurt, except for a dragon.
Well, that would be ideal, but we should prepare ourselves for loss.
Yeah. So a ballista is most effective at a range of about 150 feet.
Okay.
So I suppose we set up a ring
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
around the cave at this distance, and this is where we need a larger map. I think we should
I'm
have
working on a map
so
right now. It's being built, so give me some time.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if I think 2 men per ballista should be fine. How many knights are in the room with us?
There are
Then there's 3 in the room, but we have
22
26.
knights. Yeah, there's 22 knights in the room.
22 knights come back to the war room.
Well, there's 22 knights. 22 villages have had their banners called. Each one sends a knight and some
So we are in
soldiers,
a
and some of them
crowded-
send a
A
deputy.
crowded war room.
Yes.
with-
I don't think they all get invited though, Neal. Right?
Well, I mean,
How do you decide who? I mean,
it's kind of
what does the chancellor say? I mean, Garrick doesn't say anything over dinner.
I have the
Maybe
chancellor
small
pick
talk,
the 3 most experienced knights in war for this meeting. But I
Okay.
wrote down that we had 26 knights now.
You have 26, right? But there's 22 villages. Not some of the villages brought 2 knights. Some of them brought 1.
All right, we've got 176 men. But how many longbows and crossbows do we have?
Let's see.
Because foot soldiers with swords aren't really going to help.
Yeah,
I don't think we even want to involve those men.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we want 2 men on each ballista.
all of the men
That's
brought
all I asked you.
are armed with spears. I would say you might have each village roughly gives 8 men. They're all spearmen. They can be equipped with crossbows. I don't think any of these people are longbow proficient.
Okay, so crossbows then.
Yeah, you might get a couple of longbow proficient people in here.
Well, how many crossbows do we have?
The crossbow count is not super high. They're kind of expensive. Let's see. Damn it, I can't draw the map when I have to answer questions.
Sorry.
Shirebrook has.
Prep.
You know what, Ryan?
I
You want to
troll, I
switch
troll.
jobs? I could be a physicist.
There would be even less prep if I were behind your side of the table.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I can't tease you for it.
The town watch has 10 heavy crossbows. The actual the soldiers in the keep would have had probably another 10 heavy crossbows. So you've got 20 heavy crossbows in Shirebrook. And I think the knights have probably brought along, on average, 1 crossbow per knight, per spear raised. But so one group might come with 3 crossbows, one group might come with a couple groups might come with no crossbows. So let's call it 22 and 20. So let's call it 42 crossbows. 20 of them are light, the rest are heavy.
20.
That's
light
20 heavy.
crossbows.
20 heavy, the rest are light.
20 heavy crossbows, 22 light crossbows. Well,
Yeah.
all right, that's a sizable force. All right, so none of these knights are actually going to be getting their hands dirty,
No.
apart from
I
Count
mean,
Goldfeather.
I think they're more liability than anything. Like if you get casualties, you'll have pissed off knights or pissed off villages asking for recompense.
Mhm.
No.
So I think maybe we'll keep a few of them around though to encourage the troops though. If a few knights die, so be it. So we've got 42 men. Me, you, maybe Tyrus if he's going to come. That's something I need
Wait,
to-
hold on. Where are we having this conversation right now?
Well,
Did
I'm
you tell the
talking-
Chancellor Tyrus?
Yeah, no, I'm not talking out loud, but that's a conversation that maybe we need to have with.
Yeah. With
Chancellor
Tyrus. Have you seen Tyrus since he's been back? That conversation happens later that night, I think.
No, don't think so.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think? Just a ring?
Yeah.
Sure.
How wide is the river, Neal?
A couple 100 feet.
Too wide then.
All right. So I think maybe one.
A semicircle then. Right. Rather than a ring.
Yeah, we could even have one like 30, like right over here by the entrance.
Yeah, because if the dragon goes for that one, then he's showing his back to everything else.
Yeah.
No one's going to want to be on that ballista though.
And then like is anyone going to want to be on any of these ballistas? I don't know. I mean, that's up for the.
Do we split the 42 men in a ring as well, or do we cluster them around the ballista?
The men should all be separate, and maybe in groups of 2 for morale purposes. I don't know how that might work, or even just like 42 men scattered.
So what is
Or a
the
circle
short
around
range
the cave.
of a crossbow? I can look it up.
It's about the same. It's about the same.
Let's look it up.
Crossbows are actually going to be longer range than
Yes.
even the
crossbows,
ballista. The light crossbows short range is
180. and then 240 for the heavy.
Yes. Right? Yeah.
So I think we've got 3 concentric semicircles going on. Right? We've got a ring of ballista, a ring of light crossbows, and a ring of heavy crossbows.
I think put the light crossbows with the ballista. So the men manning the light crossbow. Well, or are you trying to have as? I mean, are we trying to take down the dragon as easily as possible, or with as few casualties as possible?
See casualties.
Yeah. So I don't even know if we want little one-hit die 0th level fighters shooting crossbows at it. They'll just be liabilities, won't they?
No, I don't think so, because one, it's more targets that the dragon's not going to put on ballista or us.
Sure.
And it's
all right.
And 20s do damage, right? 44 shots.
Yeah.
There's 2 20s in there.
Yeah. Okay. So I think everyone will be on their own.
Yeah, more or less. So, what's the circumference of a semicircle with a radius of 150 feet?
150 feet is the radius, right?
Yeah. So it's what?
2 pi.
Yeah.
All right. Here is your
900 feet.
Your rough map of the area. The
100.
terrain's more or less to scale, but the road is clearly not.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So north in this case is straight up, or what?
Yes.
And
North
where
is
can you ping the cave?
It's down here. This is the mine in question.
Okay.
At the bottom.
All right,
all these roads head to other mines, of course. Yes, these hills are all climbable. Everything is climbable. You're brave enough and skilled enough.
So you've got, that's your ballista ring. Right, there's 7 ballistae around that ring. This is your light crossbow ring. There's 22 light crossbows in that ring. And then this is your, okay, this isn't quite to scale now, but you get the idea. They're all at short range. Right? So the green ring's 150 feet. The blue ring's, what did we say, 180 feet. And the red ring's 240 feet.
And we can draw these to scale, right? The black ring is actually, that black thing is more or less the ballista ring.
Sure.
Yeah, but we're only doing the semicircle, right?
I think there will be some along the shoreline, or like at least along the shoreline. I mean, they may be closer than 150 feet.
Well, you take a look at the other map. I know it's kind of skewed, so north and south are a little bit different in this other one.
So I think there will probably be one along the path, 150 feet out. There may be one along the shore here, probably looks like only like 75 feet out. We can have one on the hill just above it. So I think it will. I mean, so they may not, with the shoreline, they may not be able to be the optimum 150 feet away. But I think a full encirclement should be fine. We probably don't want any more than like 50 feet between anyone.
Yeah. I think maybe, all right, we can circle the ballistae, but I think we should semicircle the men. Don't you agree?
Yeah, sounds good. Sure.
Because otherwise the men will be too clustered if we start going full circle with them. Right, I mean, I think that's our plan. So we just wait until the ballistae are ready, and then we set everything up there, right? Let's talk where you're going to be. I think that you should be, like, if we're looking at this map, I think you should be, like, here, right above, or at least, like, 100 feet away. Close enough that you can cast, but you're behind it, so it's not going to see you straight away.
Yeah, that's more or less what I'm thinking. I'm happy to get my hands dirty. Although, I mean, I will be pretty dynamic on the battlefield, I would imagine. I mean, we'll see. I'm half anticipating this being over in a couple of rounds.
I'm hoping so too.
But yeah, I'll start things off right above the cave. I probably will be hidden. And
I'm going to be...
I'll be invisible, and I'll seal the cave off as soon as we lure the creature out.
All right, and I'm going to be at magic missile range. Which is nice and far away. Because there's absolutely zero chance of me surviving the dragon's breath weapon.
All right. And who will deliver the gold?
Cal Goldfeather.
What a fitting name.
Unless she doesn't want to.
You better leave that gold and fly.
We can... we could use an unseen servant.
This is
Drop it
true.
off. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. But we're not dropping off gold this time. We're dropping off a sign. And I'm going to write the sign out now. It says, "Fuck you, you scaly piece of shit."
Would you like some of those runes to be explosive, Malachi?
Well, I thought about it, but I think that might cause it to just retreat immediately.
Well, I think as soon as it steps out of the gate, I will shut the door and we will unload ballista.
But if there's a chance it could read it before it leaves fully, then the plan could be blown. Do you know what I mean? That's my only thought. But otherwise, the explosive runes idea is a good one.
We could even just cover the thing with explosive runes, and if it does read it, it's just toast.
Does it work like that? Can they stack?
There's no saving throw. You just take the 64 times plus 6 damage.
Yeah, but you can't stack explosive runes on explosive runes on explosive runes.
Okay, so you're saying one note can only have one set of explosive runes.
Right, or if there are multiple across it, it just detonates on the first one, and it's not like a chain detonation where, 10 explosive runes detonated by one of them all explode at the same time. You can only be affected by one at a time.
Do you know what's going to be great as well? The dragon's going to see one ballista and like 2 people, and it's going to think, what kind of a fucking trap is this? And then it's going to come out all arrogant, only to be skewered from behind. So I was worried about seeing the whole army, but it's only going to see a very small portion of it. So I think we're good. I think we don't do the explosive runes. I think it's just too risky. The last thing we want is it to not come out. Right?
I don't follow your logic. I don't see any. If the dragon's reading the paper, it's probably already got a ballista bolt in its back.
Do you think?
I think the most likely thing is that it detects the trap before it sets it and just stays in the cave. I mean, from the ballistas and stuff, and from the smell of men.
Yeah. But then you're saying, why we just camp it out?
Yeah, we can set even more sinister traps over the entrance.
All right, then. Fuck it. Let's do the explosive runes. Yeah, why not?
Like we'll bring, yeah.
Fuck it. Let's blow this bitch up. All right. Fuck you,
so,
scaly piece of shit.
Do you have explosive runes, or do I cast that?
No, I haven't learned it yet.
Okay, so I'll cast explosive runes on that document. I'll have to cast it the next day. It's 3rd level spell, but
Sure.
All right. I mean, I think we've done our prep.
All right.
So unless anything comes up.
Well, why don't we go to break, and I'll figure out what's happening in the remaining few days, see if anything comes up that's important for you. Also, you guys should think about any other preparations that you're doing, any other information gathering that you're doing.
The only other thing is Tyrus.
yeah.
Does he want to fight the dragon or not?
Can we hear from Tyrus again?
Well, yeah. I left. He accompanied me back to town, so I have.
Oh, he did. He waited. He camped out in the woods for you to.
Yeah, he did. He waited. Yeah. So he would have told me. I would have had this discussion already with him about the dragon.
Well, yeah, you guys are going to see him tonight. He said he was going to come back to your tower tonight to visit you.
All right. Cool.
Well, so we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we will see what happens in the next few days. See you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.